So let me introduce our speaker. Kim Duramo DO is a conscious physician, best-selling author of the Mind Body Toolkit, and founder of the American Institute of Mind Body Medicine. Dr. Duramo has been highly sensitive and able to perceive energy at deep levels throughout her life and has practiced mind body healing for decades. Kim now assists individuals and practitioners all over the world to resolve illnesses and access your highest possibilities for vitality and abundance.
Mhm.
It is my absolute honor and pleasure to introduce Dr. Kim Duramo.
Thank you. Well, thank you for that introduction. And this is Gemma. She's my daughter, and she's 9 years old. And you can just say hi or anything you want to say. Glad to be here. Yeah. She's really receptive to this work, and she's very intuitive too. So thanks for having us. So, am I, yeah, I don't need to do anything special to come. I'm
No,
used to
you're
being
in
so
focus, and you're gonna be sharing on how to shift from the outer hierarchy to inner healing. So thank you so much for everything you've done and you are doing. You're a true leader in the healing community, and it's such an honor to be a friend. And thank you for being here with us.
same here. Well, one of the things that I was inspired to share about was about, because this is what's happening right now. We're shifting out of this old structure where we're physical, solid, separate individuals. And in order to kind of function in the world, we've got to get ahead. We've got to do the right thing. We've got to follow the rules. We see even in the educational system alone that we kind of, we come out of the womb and then it's like, hey, we've got this handled. We've got this all figured out. Don't worry, we'll help you out. And then it's this big indoctrination process where we're supposed to do it a certain way and all these rules. And it's all about getting ahead or here's what it takes. But it's, a structure that has us really be disconnected from ourselves. Obviously, in the medical system, this has been a catastrophe where there's more sick people than healthy people. People who are sick continue to get sicker and sicker, and there really aren't a lot of solutions in the conventional structure. But what you'll see, even just in this group with the induction we did, once we begin, just the act of connecting with ourselves begins the healing process. Whether it's, wow, I'm aware I'm really having a lot of fear right now, or, oh, I don't feel anything, or, hey, I feel tension, or I feel pain, or whatever is here, I'm beginning to connect with what's actually here versus tuning outside of me, trying to learn more to get ahead, to do it right and figure out the thing, but I'm still operating in that outer structure. The other thing I think that's kind of an important component of this is the more we can be here now, the more resourced we'll be to not only feel a sense of wholeness, receive guidance and insight, um, instantly feel lighter, but to then create the new structure. Because the new structure will be based on oneness and on unity and on the awareness that I'm not separate from you. And then on the awareness, on some level anyway, that I'm pure energy and I'm not a solid physical thing and I'm not separate from anyone around me, but we are vibration first and foremost. And then that allows us to have a very different experience of the physical and a very different vantage point of um, how do I live my life? What's right for me? What's true for me? Should I go this way? Should I go that way? And so right now we're in this massive collapse of the outer system of the hierarchy. And some people are feeling it as no man's land, right? Like, but then I don't know what could happen, right? I lost my job, I lost my spouse, maybe people are getting sick, and you're like, why did I lose my health? And you're in the no man's land of the unknown, but you haven't found a way to connect more with the new foundation of I already am whole. Let me create from here. So I think in this session, we can move, first of all, have an understanding of what that is and why this is happening, and then move into some concrete, tangible ways of connecting with that. And any questions that come up along the way, you can type them in. So one of the things, I've shared this diagram a lot of times, and I'm just going to kind of draw this out here. When we are in this continuum, so on one end over here, let me see if I can bring my screen up so I make sure. Okay, on one end over here is the small self, and then over here is the true self. So this is physical and the ego and the rules and all the things in the mind. And then this is the unknown. It's the vibrational. It's the universal mind. We actually have to give one up in order to access the other. But we don't always do it in one big leap. We'll do it in like incremental steps along the way where we begin to perceive the new reality. Okay, so over here in this true self is where we can access higher awareness. Like for example, oh, why don't I just do it that way? Or, oh, cool, I'll go see that practitioner that I never even heard of yesterday, but like, boom, that's the person that changes my life. What is it that allows these things to come into our perception? We've got to shift into a higher consciousness, but we don't have to do it all at once, because when we make that leap from here, it's like, I got to get there. I got to get there. And what you know is like what we focus on expands. So if I'm functioning from this small self, trying to get to the higher space, it's impossible. You can't create the solution from the same consciousness where the problem exists. And that's, I think, the biggest addiction we have is like, I've got to do it. I've got to do it. I've got to do it. So if it's not working, I try harder. I try harder. I try harder. What are we doing? We're relying on and accessing the tools of this small self, which is hierarchy. Right? Hierarchy puts the authority outside me. Right? So in hierarchy, I'm powerless, but it's okay because the guru's got me covered. I'm powerless, but it's okay because my teacher's going to show me how to do it. I'm powerless, but my religion's got the answers. So answers are always going to be outside of you. And no matter how hard you work at it, how good you get it, or how high up you go in the hierarchy, it will ultimately be empty. Because what it will just create is more lack, but I'm almost there now. Just got to work a little harder. Or it will seem like I have abundance, but it's really expensive to like keep working that hard for it. Or these things are going right, but my health is failing and I can't enjoy any of them. So if we actually check in to the moment, we'll see the space we're functioning from. We'll see, wait a minute, this isn't bliss. And only when we see do we increase our frequency. So there's two things. One is just checking in and being aware. Oh, I'm in this low consciousness right now. I'm in a low frequency right now. Awareness, just awareness alone increases our frequency, because in stage one, we're in the hierarchy, but we don't know. That's beautiful. We don't know we're in the hierarchy. We think we're just doing it wrong, or we just have been too abused, or so-and-so is just keeping it from me. If only my husband would change. If only I could find a better doctor. My doctor's letting me down. If only my kids would behave. If only my body would lose 10 pounds. So every time you notice you're in the if only, you're in powerlessness. The power is outside of me. And so then the second step with that would be to like, so let me change it, let me change it, let me change it. So I either notice in the first stage, oh, here I am in separation. What else is actually possible? Awakening, becoming aware is what brings back power. Or I don't notice, so I start doing. So that's like the three stages. We be, do, have. So we're either aware of our state of being, whoa, there's a lot of density here right now. Or we're aware of the doing. Wow, I'm working my ass off. I'm working really hard. This can't be my path. Or we're only aware of what we have. I have this disease. I have not enough money. I have, my husband left me. I have, the circumstances. So where am I functioning from? My state, my actions, or my circumstances? So where is the focus? Where is my focus? I'm either focusing on the state of being, which is what we're going to do today. We're going to check in. Or maybe I can't access that. I'm like, I'm too frenetic. I'm just going to keep chasing. Let me make a few more phone calls. Let me write a better blog. Let me make more money. Let me make people like me. Right. And I'm like, whoa, here I am. I'm noticing. I can see my actions. Or where most people are functioning from is circumstances. The only thing they're aware of is the outer world. And where we focus determines the consciousness we're in. Where we focus determines our frequency. Where we focus expands. And so if all I do is focus on my state, which you got to kind of practice your way into that sensitivity. Although I would think everyone in here has a lot of sensitivity, that's not a huge leap, but we can still enhance that and work ourselves even more into more awareness, more sensitivity, right? Like what do we do usually is alcohol, drugs, addictions, distractions. Let me just get on the phone. Let me look here. How many likes did I get? How much money do I have? I don't know. Purchasing. So we don't have to really feel what we feel. So if we go the other way instead, to immerse ourselves in the awareness, we have a much higher vantage point for change, a much stronger fulcrum. Okay, so what I see most often, so I basically changed my practice from being an ER doctor and evolved it into what I was really here to do, why I went to medicine in the first place about 10 years ago, started that, and took this awareness into this space of like, whoa, you can change your health. Here, look at this. Here, understand that. Here, do this. But what I kept seeing people do with it was use it to get better at the hierarchy. And this is where I think like 90% of people are functioning from with like law of attraction or cultivating consciousness work. They're trying to use it to make a better escape. If we'd actually just shift one little thing and instead use it to be more aware, then it would make a better reality. Because the awareness is what shifts your state of being, and that's what changes everything you do, and that's what changes everything you experience. So the be creates the do, creates the have. Can I show them this?
Yeah.
Because it's really good. This is Gemma's rendition of what we've got. Free self. So smart. What does that one say? Trapped self over here.
Help.
Help.
This is awesome.
This is awesome. And this says, I'm not enough over here.
I was going to say, I will always be enough. I am amazing and I am great. Here.
How awesome is that? One of the things we're creating, we live here in Durango, and we realized that it's time for an awakened school system. And this is the perfect storm, because there's so much fallout in the school system, and people are saying, wow, I want independence and freedom, and I want to make the choices that I know are right for my child, not be mandated and have them made for me. And I've thought a lot about this probably for the last 20 years. And you think about what would we teach in an enlightened educational system? So it's not you come out of the womb and you're like, hey, it's a mess out there, but don't worry. we're going to tell you what to do. Study really hard and get the A's, and I'll give you the star every time you comply. Work really hard and get a good job. Make lots of money and get a good house. Do this and do this and do this. And what most people come on the other side is either I failed massively, no matter how hard I work, I can't do it, or I succeeded massively, but none of those things were fulfilling. And it's ultimately empty. And I did it all right, but I got cancer anyway. I did it all right, but I went bankrupt anyway. I did it all right, and my wife left me anyway. So you find like, oh, it was a lie. But I've asked, like, what would create and foster the greatest success for children who are moving forward to become adults, the greatest success for our world. So there are things like learning to know myself, to know what I love, to know what I excel at, to know what I'm naturally gifted at. If you just knew that one thing and nothing else, you would pretty much have a fulfilling, successful life. If you knew how to compensate for my own shortcomings, right? Like there's certain ways that my mind doesn't work and I could make myself wrong. I used to feel really bad about how bad I am with math and numbers. And it's not that I'm bad with it. It's just, I really don't like functioning there. And now I'm like, oh my God, that's awesome. My husband's good at functioning there. My accountant's good at functioning there. I don't need to make myself wrong or need to make myself function there. I just need to hire people who really do. But most people don't know how to compensate for what they're not awesome at. How to create negotiations that are a win-win. So like, okay, we got the blue paper and the yellow paper, and you're like, no, I want the yellow paper. No, I want the blue paper. And you're like, well, we can only have one. So let me manipulate her to give me the one I want. And she's going to try to do the same thing. And like, we're both in a low frequency system. So ultimately you always feel empty, even if you get what you want. So how can we create a way to, all right, Gemma, here's what it means to me. The yellow paper is really my favorite because it really lights me up. It really rocks my world. And then she's like, well, I understand that. That's beautiful. The yellow paper really rocks my world because
I love bananas.
I love bananas. And let's say her enthusiasm for bananas is so powerful. Like, sell it to me. How much do you love bananas? Because I really like yellow.
Well, there's banana pies. There's banana pancakes. You can do a lot more than bananas, just than brightening up your world. I deserve that. Yeah.
So let's say the other person, our passion is energy. And she's like, I can't even describe how much fulfillment I get from the yellow. And it would move you that you'd be like, oh my God, I want that. I want this to happen in the world. And like, here's the yellow. So I'm not in lack. I can actually receive the abundance that gets created from our win-win situation. And then maybe we come up with a way that I can get myself around, why is this the best thing that happened, that I'm going to work with blue? Well, I've never worked with blue before. I'm going to be creative. So the point is, when we can't feel the passion and we can't feel the other person, all we can do is from separation, manipulate, right? Like, I got to get what I want because I'm in lack and I don't have it. Bananas are sunshine in your belly. So when we can communicate in a way, we can hear the other person and receive them. They can hear us and receive us. We can create a situation that works. So even just a skill like that, super simple. If you just had that one thing, you would create massive success in your life. If you had the ability to give and receive constructive criticism, massive skill. I want to receive. How can I be a better partner? I asked my husband this last week because I heard Mel Robbins say it like on a quick little Instagram video. She's like, call your partner, your mother, your sister, like just text them right now. How can I be a better? And then it was like, mother, father, daughter, fill in the blank. And I'm like, my husband, I said, how can I be a better partner? And he's still floored that I even asked. But can I be receptive to what he may have to say that might be like, oh, you're telling me I'm not already good? How can I receive this in a way that allows my expansion? If you had that one thing, you're pretty much guaranteed to have a successful life. None of these are taught in our current system that's based on hierarchy. So you may figure it out if you're like really lucky. eventually, or most people don't. So what if we had a system, which is what we're creating now, is like on a mini version, we'll start with 10 kids and we'll implement this, and they'll get like reading and writing and all this other stuff. But the most important thing they're going to get is to know who they are, and to learn to ask questions, and to learn to trust themselves, and to learn to connect with themselves, and to learn to love and appreciate what they're about.
That's exactly what I'm writing about.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to show us. You have to
Sure.
show us this. So this is just one example where we're coming out of hierarchy. It's the hierarchy's fallen apart. Now, this already happened, let's say 25 years ago. When I graduated, when I started my freshman year of college, my roommate's brother had just graduated college, and he had to move back in with his parents because he wasn't ready to afford a lifestyle in a apartment and go live in his own and, float the boat. And there were articles coming out at that time. Whoa, first time in history, more US graduates are moving back home rather than, launching their lives and being able to afford their own independent lives. And it was news. I mean, that was newsworthy. Now it's like universal. I mean, what kid graduated college and goes and gets like their own apartment and their own job? Like maybe they get 3 roommates and 2 jobs and they're working their butt off. But most of them are like, okay, I'm not going to work that hard. I'll just move back in with my mom and dad and figure it out. After a 4-year college for like $200,000, it hasn't been working for decades. But are we noticing? We're still putting the kids in on they're 6 years old and we put them into this system. So what if we, as awakened individuals, began to, for ourselves, ushering ourselves through this process, and the youth, to say, let's look at this. Let's explore. You have wisdom in you. You have greatness in you. You have the unthinkable, infinite power in you. Let's find ways to uncover it. Let's find ways for you to explore it and connect with it and learn to receive from it, learn to listen to it so that you're guided.
Learn to love with it.
Learn to love with it. So this is one of the things that we're starting to implement in like an educational program. I've already begun to do this in medicine, that the awakened medical system will assist and support everyone in their highest level of health and well-being, and their highest level of vitality, whatever that means for them. That isn't what our current system does. So each of us are part of this. The more we connect with the true self, and let the small self be there, absolutely, because where we are is our access point, the more we accelerate this and something new gets created. So in this moment, we'll just do a little practice. How do I come up this scale? The only thing I can do is be where I am. I can't be over here if I'm over here, but I can be over here where I am with greater willingness. And that is the thing that shifts everything. So if we take a circumstance, and we'll just do a little exercise that is that you're struggling with, whether it's a big thing like, wow, I have this massive disease, I can't function in my life, or it's a small thing like, ooh, someone said something to me today and I'm just like, oh, I don't feel great. And feel into, from whichever vantage point you're in, the be, the do, or the have, where it's, wow, I feel like so much tension in my body. I feel not at ease. Close your eyes and tune in. And it may be something out there that's getting your attention. It may be, oh, I can't believe he said this. Or, oh, I looked at my bank account and I don't like how it looks. Or, oh, I've got to go do this thing tomorrow I don't want to do. Wherever you're connecting with this, close your eyes and let yourself experience it now. Feel your body. You always, if we soften the body, we'll feel more. So sometimes people say, how do I soften? I'll tell them, pull your shoulders up, tense your shoulders, tense your neck, squeeze your fists, and then exhale. So breathe in, tense, tense, tense. And then, and let it go. Even if you just release a little tension, you've softened and you'll have more receptivity.
Okay. Almost.
So tune into your body right now. Where am I functioning from in my life? Where am I right now? And if 10 out of 10 were love, light, joy, gratitude, all of me is in this space, and 1 out of 10 was, whoa, like I barely see the light, hardly any of me is in this space. Find your number. As for me, I would say a 5. There's a big part of my energy functioning in a space of something that happened earlier today. And this part of me is thinking about it, or kind of still back there, wishing it would have gone a little differently, regretting that it went how it went. And that part of me isn't accessible right now in my wholeness. So I'm just going to appreciate that. So you can type in what your number is. And it could be around anything: physical, mental, emotional, circumstantial. 6, 6, 6, 7, 5, 4. Of course, because we're all like really connected in resonance. It's so funny because that all averages out to 6.
I'd say mine would actually.
Yeah,
be 6
another
too.
4. Yours is a 6 right now?
Yeah.
Okay, so awesome. Collectively, we're all at a 6, give or take a few points on for different people. So, all right, what you're going to do now is just breathe. You might want to cap that because these markers are kind of toxic if we do a lot of big, deep breathing. All right, so breathe and feel your heart. And when you do this, witness that 6 with all of your presence. I am willing to be with this one who's at a 6. And that may be the one who's ruminating over something, who's angry, who feels powerless, who feels regretful, resentment, who knows, could be anything. And you don't need to know what it is. All you're going to do is you can put your hand on your heart and breathe. And you can say out loud, I am fully willing to be at this number. I'm fully willing to be exactly where I am right now. And then take 3 to 5 deep breaths. Slower, fuller, deeper breaths. Let the breath come to the belly. Okay, so just 3 breaths. Inviting the 6, leaning into the 6. And then all you're going to do right now is check in again. Where am I functioning from now? For me, it definitely went up from a 5 to a 7. And yours may be exactly the same. This is not, you're trying to shift. You're just intending to be with, breathe, accept, welcome exactly where you are. So 9 went up. Okay, 7, 7, 6.25, 8. This is so cute. 7, 6. Okay. So all we're going to do now, this is kind of the next step. So same thing, relax your body, soften. And then you're going to feel that wherever that is, that the number is, or whatever the sensation is in your body. And feel where you feel the discomfort. And if you're in that third stage of, be, do, have, and you're like just in the outer, just in the circumstances, what you feel is going to be, oh, my mother, it's out there. Oh, this thing that happened, it's out there. As you connect more, you'll even maybe feel it in you. You'll feel a resonance. You maybe feel a physical tension. Maybe it's a heaviness on your chest. Maybe it's a fluttering in your belly. Doesn't matter. but just let yourself feel the energy of what that thing is. So this time you're going to breathe and sense, where do I actually feel this? So for me, I'm going to think about this person and the circumstance and what happened. I'm just going to get curious. So curiosity is a massive key to letting energy move. Oh, interesting. What am I holding on this? What does it feel like? Where do I feel the sensations physically in my body? For me, it's like solar plexus or second chakra, definitely second chakra. Maybe a physical sensation, it may be an energetic sensation. And now breathe just into that area. And so 3 breaths, just letting the breath come in and out of that area. Good. Sometimes you might hear things when you do this, like, I'm not good enough. I'm not doing it right. Awesome. That's like the bats flying out of hell. As soon as you open the gates, stuff's going to come out. Better out than in. So the first 3 breaths is just to breathe in and out of that area where you feel the sensation, or if it's the thing outside of you, see it breathing in and out through that area of the circumstance. The second part is to breathe in light through that area, in and out of that area. So the first part is breath. The second part is light. Crystalline, purified, divine light. Let it come in and out through that area where you feel the sensations. Making you tired. So you can just relax, close your eyes, and the tiredness is your body letting go, and it will let go of the energy. When we do this, we do it for all the collective. It's shifting everyone everywhere now. Let light come in to this energy, to this situation for you and all involved. I love you. The next part is I love you. Bring in love. So the breath, the light, and love. So I like to say it. I'll say, I love you. I love you. I love you within myself. And I'll bring that into this part of me who's suffering. And I'll tell this part of me, it's okay. You're feeling what you're feeling. So step 3 is 3 deep breaths, bringing in love. I love you, or bringing in a sense of it's okay. You're feeling what you're feeling. I accept you, which is another form of love. And I also say to myself, it's okay. You're at a 6. If this were my best friend or my child, I would tell them, you feel exactly what you feel. Show me more. Show me more. So I can tell this part of me the same thing. Show me more. I'm right here with you. I'm going nowhere. I will sit with this space. I will be here with you. Then this part of you knows it's not about making you better, getting somewhere else, getting to a better place because I reject this place, getting to a better version of me and of life because I reject this version of me and my life. No, the opposite. I embrace this version of me and my life who is here, who is this, exactly as you are. And then bring that to all involved. If there are others involved in the scenario, I'm willing to bring light through your system so we can allow this to unwind. Just take a couple more breaths. Okay, and then you can just put your hand on your heart and you can say out loud, even though I've been resonating at a 6 or whatever the number's been, even though I've been resonating in this space, I make a choice to be here now. Yeah, not run away from it, not improve it, not medicate it, not therapize it. Because the only thing that can be lacking in myself, in this world, is more of me showing up now. Okay, and then just take a last few breaths and open up your eyes.
I think I figured out why we yawn.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yawning is going to happen. And now I want you to tune in. First of all, what did you notice through that? Are you more or less aware of self-rejection? It's not about I made my number go up, or that's secondary. Yawning is always great because your body's moving a lot of energy. Did you yawn a lot? This is first and foremost about awareness. When I'm willing to be where I am as I am more fully, that does bump me up a notch or 10. That does bring me into a higher frequency, which is a new be, do, have, which is a new circumstance, which is a new world. More what?
I think their numbers are.
You asked if people are more, I think, aware of self.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Yes. Okay.
It's
So if I'm more aware of my self-rejection, that's a higher state of consciousness than if I'm oblivious to my self-rejection. Now, what most people do with this, and this is what I was getting back to, what I've seen as a doctor in this practice of what I'm doing, is they take that and make it a new problem. Oh, I have this self-rejection thing going on. Okay, who do I go to help me fix that? But if we would actually just stay with presence as the medicine, we become aware of, oh, wow, self-rejection. Oh, wow, seemingly infinite powerlessness. Oh, wow, seemingly bottomless pit of despair. I breathe in, I breathe out. That alone creates a quantum shift. But your mind isn't going to let you know that. Because when we, let's say, okay, that happens, right? If I tune into my state of being, I am going to be aware I'm 2% lighter. I went from a 6 to a 6.25, which I think is so funny because that happens sometimes. You're at a 6, but you're not like, all right, I'm solidly at a 6. I'm definitely not a 5. You like kind of bumped up a micrometer, and the mind won't let you acknowledge that as the lightness, the shift in frequency that it is, because the first frequency shift is going to be in your state. If you then look at your bank account, or you look at your lab results, or you look at your partner, and you'll come right back down here, because this, like 2 notches below that, right, is where those things reside. So guess where you bring your resonance? Back there. If you be willing to make this, I guess you could call it a little leap of faith. You're like, whoa, I feel 2% lighter. Maybe I didn't even go up a notch, that I'm like, oh, I went from a 6 to a 7. Maybe I'm still a 6, but I'm like a 6.25, but I honor the shit out of that 6.25. I'm like, something happened, because the most powerful vantage point to change is the B. When you shift the B, when you shift your state of being, you exponentially shift the outer. It just doesn't happen instantaneously. If you continue to reside in that 6.25, your life is going to 100% of the time reflect a higher frequency. More money comes in, people love you, problems fade away without your even trying, your lab results normalize, because your body is like the first interface to express this, to physically manifest this. Your immune system just changed, your neurologic system just changed, your vein patterning just changed. So if I celebrate the heck out of that micro shift in my state, I just created a whole new world. It's a matter of, will I stabilize into that, or will I keep making it not enough, not enough, not enough, not enough? Where's the beef? Where's the beef? Where's the beef? Because what we do is we look here, maybe I'm here, but I'm looking here to see if it changed, right? I don't have my dream life. It didn't work. And that's the thing, because I was like, why are people hung up with what's being missed here? I would see the quantum shift happening, but they wouldn't validate the inner, because we've been trained in the hierarchy to only validate the outer. In fact, it's one of these books I'm reading was talking about what science was defined as, like what is real is that which can be measured. Well, even 10 years ago, 20 years ago, we didn't have the calibration tools to measure that shift from a 6 out of 10 to a 7 out of 10. Right. And even in heart math, they have these calibration tools where if you're like feeling 2% lighter, it will measure that electromagnetic shift. Even if you're not consciously measuring it, which most people aren't in any way doing this. You, everyone who's listening to this call or the replay, 100% will have the ability to do that. So if we think only what's real is that which can be measured, we're going to discount it. Why? Because we've learned in the hierarchical system to discount it. I feel better, but it's not real. I feel lighter and more empowered. I feel more aware of like, oh, I've been doing this sabotage, but I mean, I still don't have money. So if I validate the outer as more real than I honor the inner to be, guess what I will experience? Powerlessness, victimhood, separation, and lack. When I make the quantum shift that I am going to celebrate the inner as even more real than everything outside, I just won the game. That it's a commitment, it's a devotion. I will honor that within me is the true reality, even when the shit is hitting the fan, even when the outer still is, no, you'll never have it. And it got worse, right? Because what's going to happen right before you make a major quantum shift? The bats are going to come flying out of hell. The voices of self-hate are going to intensify. The physical pain is going to intensify because the energy has to move. That's energy moving. Energy suppressed does not feel as bad and painful as energy moving. So you're actually going to feel maybe a little bit more pain. You may have inflammation. Whoa, all my flare-ups just happened. I must be doing it wrong. No, it's energy moving. Give it another 10 seconds. If you keep stabilizing into the new frequency, you will witness the change. It takes courage, willingness, which is curiosity, and devotion. So for you personally, as an individual who's here to shift this collective, we're doing it right now. Will you devote yourself to honoring the inner truth more than you let the outer truth hijack you as your reality? Yes, and that's exactly what I've been doing. Not doing, so celebrating the 6.25. Poppy, do you mean to just be aware and let go of the circumstance that hurts and focus somewhere else? Yes, because when I'm feeling contracted and not aware of it versus feeling contracted and accepting it, that's the quantum leap. Wow, I see myself doing the sabotage thing. It's okay, I'm doing this. So I'm willing to see it versus, oh my God, I'm eating the whole tub of ice cream and I am such a bad person and I really am crap and I'll never make it. That seems like a teeny little shift, right? Because I'm eating the whole tub of ice cream and I'm hating myself all the way through it, or I'm eating the whole tub of ice cream and I love viewing myself all the way through it. It will seem in the outer worlds of separation, physical and hierarchy, that they're exactly the same or insignificantly different. But in the truth, they are infinitely different. You want to show them
Dr.
that?
Kim, that was absolutely incredible. Did you name that technique by any chance?
No.
No, it's very profound. Do you have time for a few questions from everybody?
Yes. Yeah,
know-
we can call that the inner awakening technique.
Beautiful. I'm gonna write that down. The inner awakening technique. It is fascinating. I was just thinking, I was correlating what's going on, how you were talking about basically when you work on the inner, it will reflect itself outwardly. And, you know, a lot of people labeled everything that was going on a massive scale as bad, but that time broke everyone up from their normal habits and routines in some essence when we were quarantined and all that. And it caused people to go inward and
Yeah.
start connecting inward. And it's what you were saying made me think it's cool that now these things are reflecting themselves outwardly from the time we spent inward, like how you were just talking about this awakenings school. That's phenomenal. In Sedona, they have this Sedona greenhouse project that just sprouted up where the whole community is living off these gardens, and it's a harmonious project that happened because of everyone going inward during these times. In Taos, people are living off the fat of the land. Like all these incredible transformational things are popping up on a large scale right now. And it's incredible. I feel like we're amidst incredible transformation collectively.
Mm.
So it's not really a question. It was just something
It's
with.
a great
I keep
point.
hearing. Yeah.
And I think right now is the key is how much willingness do I have to sit with what's moving through? How much willingness do I have to sit with what is coming up for me? Because I, for myself personally, felt higher states of bliss than I've ever had in my life. Not fleeting states of bliss, like, oh, I'm so high, but it goes away. Stabilized, grounded, whole life reflecting on every level of my life, reflecting unthinkable things and sustained, for longer and longer and longer periods. But when I do bounce into the recalibration of the next layer coming up, right? Because you're expanding into more of that, more of that, more of that. When the next layer comes up, it's like, oh my God, like I've had to really use all the anchoring I've cultivated in the last, I don't know how many years, 30 years, to stabilize into that, to anchor into that, and let what's moving through move through.
Yeah.
And it's like, holy hell, wow, this is wicked. But yes, 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 yes. And then when it moves through, it can move through really quickly. It's unbelievably intense, but it can move through, maybe it's an hour or minutes instead of like days and weeks, months and years, where people go into these states of like depression, and all we're being asked to do is, will I be willing to sit with, like someone said, just to be aware. No, I'm sorry. That's major. The physical pain has intensified, but I feel so connected and serene. And Angela said, it's super painful to spend time here, to spend time there, right? So why would I be willing to spend time in the discomfort of what's actually happening within me when I could check out? Well, because I become more and more aware of what that creates, what it actually gets created when I check out. I feel like I'm doing well. All right, I'm managing it. I don't feel the pain, but what actually gets created in my life is more limitation and more lack versus the other. If I'm willing to like, all right, this feels mega holy hell, but yes, yes. And like just the exercise we did, that presencing exercise, oh my God, what that creates. You'll see the result of that, and then you'll be more willing and more willing and more willing to sit with and presence densities than you ever have been before.
So cool. Yeah, I was thinking about a situation I had recently too, where by the way, Gemma is the best. Gemma, you're amazing. Thank you for all your illustrations. And
we have another one she wanted to show me. So we have, I'm never going to make it. And then this guy says, I got this.
Nice. So cool.
Passion.
Care,
Wow.
love, friendship,
Care, love,
creativity.
friendship, and creativity.
Aw, you're so talented. We'll have to have her on for a talk.
I think so.
She'll be our guest speaker soon. All right, I see Randy has his hand up.
We
Randy's
have
got
a question.
Yeah.
Hey, Dr. Kim, I really appreciate everything that you had said there. I mean, almost from start to finish. I mean, at least for me, I mean, one word came up. It was just one word, and it could have been printed across my screen, but it was surrender. And it was like, I guess, surrender to the shift.
Yes.
Surrender is difficult. It's uncomfortable, and surrendering, whether it's surrendering to spirit, and in this case to the shift from where we were to where we hope to be, or aspire to be, and maybe the shift is just in those little increments
Yes.
and stuff.
Yes.
But it's catch that little increment and be appreciative and celebrate it, and then don't be afraid to stop, surrender to it, and let it take you further. But I just kept saying that one word, surrender, the whole time.
You know, it's beautiful what you're seeing, because I think, especially in this collaborative, we are all together ushering the ascension of humanity, ushering the ascension of the planet. And we do it from like an individual vantage point. But when we share like this, we're like curious and inquisitive of like, oh, what's, you know, how are you seeing this? Or what are you finding? And what's your truth? So we can look and learn from each other, and also feed each other with this awakening. Because how much is it creating for everyone? Just what you said right there, like that's an insight for all of us to take home. Like just that surrender is letting, you know, the baby come through the birth canal of where we are going collectively as humanity, because where we're going into 5D is kind of unthinkable, and you can't even get your head around it from a 3D consciousness at all. And the more you try to create it from a 3D consciousness, the more contracted you get, and the more hard you're working, and the more frustrated. And surrender is the only thing that can let something I don't already know be created through me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, great point.
Thank you, Uncle Randy. So I think I saw a question. It's very similar. Is it the energy of this group that brought up so much opportunity right now? I've been so warm, hot. I know it's my body saying, hello, I'm ready to move something through right now.
Yes. Yes. Well, I feel, you can see what your numbers are now. I'm like more of an 8, 9, like a solid 9, feeling more. So the true self always lives in total divinity, unconditional divinity. I am one with the divine. But where am I functioning? Oh, I'm not totally one with divine. Part of my energy is over here doing this. So I've got to just honor that. I can't try to be somewhere I'm not. I can only be where I am more willingly. But that is what allows the ascension. And
I would assume too, because I had this situation occur. I generally over the last like 5 years or so have felt pretty good, but I had this situation come up where I had all these different events stacked on top of each other, and I felt something occur that I hadn't felt in a while, and I instantly labeled it as bad. And I think what caused me to happen was I went the other way on the scale, where it was like the bad got worse and worse, and I was like trying to push this thing out. And as I did that, I magnified my lower self, and
yes,
it just I almost had like a panic attack,
yes.
you know?
Well, so that's what happens. Symptoms, panic is the body letting you know, like, no, you're going the wrong way.
Yeah, right.
And most people aren't aware of where they're going anyway. So it's like all happening to them. But if
Yeah.
you develop awareness, you're like, oh, wait, when I'm buying into these thoughts, my body's like freaking out and sick or panicking. What if I let those go? And you'll immediately feel lighter. Then you can establish that more fully.
Yeah, this was very profound. Does anyone else have any questions? Oh, I see Poppy with a hand up. Awesome. It's 2 a.m. where Poppy is. So I love when she's on these calls. Poppy,
Oh,
whenever you're ready.
Okay. Hi. Hello. Hi, Gemma. You're a great artist. Bravo. You're sunshine. Okay. So I wanted to ask, this reminds me a little bit of EFT. So the thing is, though, that sometimes you do an exercise and you accept it and you let it go, but it's like the memory doesn't go.
yeah.
So it'll
So
come back.
this is what I've found to be, because if it's coming back, it's because you're still resisting it on some level. What you resist persists. So if I'm doing EFT to make it go away, that's where that, like in some little way, it's still there. I'll
But
feel better,
EFT
but it's temporary.
doesn't make it go away. So EFT is you face it, and you
So if
say,
I
even
would,
though I have this, so
yes.
you accept that you have it. I love and approve of myself. So it's almost the same thing like what you're doing.
So if I'm doing the EFT to love and nurture myself, that's when greater, deeper resistance, even the low level resistance, will resolve. So if I'm, like we said, we're embracing the 6 to embrace the 6. We're not embracing the 6 to make our level, our number go up. But sometimes we're doing EFT to make myself feel better, to make the thing go away, to change my nervous system. So when I'm using EFT to love and nurture myself, maybe I just do one round and I'm where I am and I let it cook. But I know for me, it was like, I got to keep going. I got to keep going. And that's all well and good, because there are ways to do subtle forms of EFT where you're like using different points. But I've found if I just put my hand on my heart, I'm willing to feel all of this, that will recalibrate my whole nervous system more powerfully than frenetically tapping on the points.
Okay, so just like more simple than
More
having to
welcoming
do
welcoming what's there rather than tapping to make it go away. So if I tap to welcome it, I'm willing to welcome all of this completely and fully. I welcome that I don't want to welcome this, but welcoming what's there instead of trying to make it change.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Poppy. Does anyone else have a question? Oh, Rhonda. Go ahead, Rhonda.
I just want to make a comment. So funny, because today I did EFT and I did it on something that I said, let me try something that I really don't care about working on. And I worked on it and my level went up. And it was like, I'm like, I hit on something. I found something that needs to be worked through. And I was like, even though I felt shitty, I was like, all right. So I did another round and then I felt better, but it was great because it helped me to uncover something that I really had no idea it was there. And to that point that you made before, that about feeling the pain, like you're actually working and being able to be in that state of who you are and where you are. But even though I've been feeling like so good all the time, my body is like coming up with like all these like things. I'm like, really? But again, to your point, it's probably just working out things. Can you kind of expand on that a little bit, why that happens?
Right now, with this massive recalibration, there's so much coming out, so much coming out, so much coming out. And to the degree that I've learned to be fluid with what is and not judge it and not need it to be otherwise, this is an awesome experience for me. I'm like, whoa, for the most part. This is, wow, fascinating and fluid. But with the level of densities that are leaving, if there's resistance to them or resistance to this recalibration process, oh my God, it's heavy, it's hard. So it's part of it is when I know I'm in a recalibration and I'm like, this feels really, oh, and I'm in a recalibration. I immediately feel better because I realize, oh, this is awesome. This is everything I've been asking for. It's making space for everything I've been asking for. So in that speed up, speed up, calibrate, integrate, right? We're speeding up like, oh my God, that'd be cool. She's doing it this way. And then we're like, oh no, I could never do it that way because then I'd have to leave my job. And I'm bumping up against the resistance. That's the calibration, second stage. If I weren't speeding up, I wouldn't bump up against that resistance. And then when it's complete and I'm living it, it's fully integrated. The thing that got glitchy for me for years and years and years is I didn't understand that. So when my system was recalibrating, I thought something was wrong. And then instead of being a fluid process, it was like a nightmare. Oh my God, I'm back there again. Oh, I thought I already fixed this. Oh no, I got to do more EFT. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Rhonda.
Is that helpful?
Yes, very much so. Thank you. It makes sense. It kind of clicked for me. Thank you.
Does anyone else have a question? Oh, Lisa, go ahead, Lisa.
Oh, this is cute what they wrote. You can go to the comments in a sec too.
So I had a question of, you've talked about letting go of like identities and stuff like that. I was wondering how you manage with having identity as like a DO, and then also what you do now, how you kind of worked with that.
Yeah, it's a great question. I had to learn a long time ago. Well, I didn't have it as an identity. When I was, it wasn't something I knew I'm here to do this work. And then I'm like, all right, I'm going to go to medical school. I'm going to do this thing. I'm an ER doctor. And I didn't get in the, this is who I am with that. I realized later I needed to do is not try to bump it out, let myself use it as a framework or structure that I'm operating through. Not that it identifies, not identify with it, but not try to not use it. Like, yes, this is what I'm trained in. This is my history. This is my vantage point. I've seen a lot of things through it, having this, and this experience. But the more we connect with the infinite self, which is this, it's beyond all identity. And it's even beyond all of our history and our story of like, well, I went to medical school at blah, blah, blah. I did my residency at Emory University, and we think that's all identity. So the more I function from wholeness, I have no idea what's going to come through. So I don't have the judgment of this is how I should speak because after all, I'm a doctor, or this is how I should do it because I'm a woman, or because I'm a mom, or because I'm 48 years old, and have all these limits. The more you connect with the true self, it's an organic expression in every moment. You don't even know what's going to come out next. You don't know what it's going to look like. But for me, I'm like open for whatever that's going to look like for my moment, and for like my global life of like, how are we going to create it? Maybe we're going to live somewhere else. Like, I don't have the attachment to, well, it has to be this way. Okay, I'll express my authentic self as long as like we stay here in Durango and everybody's happy. So the more you're willing to live in the unknown, the more stable my life has been, that we like pretty much live in this one place. And it's not this chaotic thing that most people think it's going to be if they step into the unknown at all. So I've been willing to let that be part of the, hey, this is part of who I am, but not buy into that this is who I am. So, I think as practitioners, some people bump that, but don't bump it. You will naturally transcend beyond it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Does anyone else have a question? Angela, go ahead, Angela.
He tricks you into accepting your whole self by making you think you're trying to make the discomfort go away. What you're actually doing is embracing your whole self, including the discomfort, and holding space for the integration, which happens whether you're directly aware of it or not. Yep, that's exactly it. Ultimately, it uses validation to make it go away by accepting the whole self first, to Poppy's point. Yep. And if I'm on board for that, I'm on board of I'm doing this to accept myself and nurture myself more, then you're going to see there's more power in the EFT. But if I'm like going to EFT to fix myself, I'm not really, it's different, right? Because I won't even know what to tap on.
Go ahead, Angela.
Okay. Thank you so much. This has been really wonderful. What I wanted to ask you is how I mean, I'm getting kind of an idea, but sometimes I feel this like challenge to know where the balance is between, you did mention briefly, you know, like law of attraction or reality creation and that kind of thing, you know, between um you know, what I focus on and how it expands. Okay, so if I'm spending time in these painful places, um you know, like where's the balance? Like how much am I like trying to spend time in the
Okay.
higher vibrations, and you know,
It's
like
a
that
great
kind of thing.
question. Here's the thing that will unwind this for you. The willingness is a higher vibration than the resistance. So it isn't a balance between I'm willing to sit with the thing. Oh no, I've just got to feel a higher thing. The willingness is the higher thing. This I get asked some form of this all the time because in the mind, these are very separate.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I'm going to be with the shit. No, I want to be with the good thing, right? Oh, I'll be with the awakened self. No, fix it, fix it. I got to fix it. Zero. The more willing I am to be where I am, as I am, how I am, that is a higher vibration. That is bringing my focus into a higher space.
That's a great answer. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Does anyone else have a question? I think that might be it. All right. This was such an awesome meeting. Dr. Kim, I love you. You're the best.
I love you guys so much. I'm so honored anytime I get to be a part of this. And it's not like my ideal time that I tune in each week.
Mm,
But I love this group. I love what we're doing in this group. You know, we're like doing our family stuff in the evening. So I'm always tuning into stuff during the day. But I'm so grateful to be a part of this. I think we're at such a high frequency in this particular collaborative, and what the intention of this is, it's just so beautiful. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. So we close with a prayer. And Dawson Church recommended that we reach out and pretend grab each other's hands. You can grab each other's hands if you want. And so we lock hands as we say this prayer. So we dedicate the merit of this meeting to all those awakening at this precious time. May our efforts to better ourselves help shift the planetary consciousness from fear into love. May this energy ripple out into the world and awaken those with closed hearts, illuminate closed minds, and inspire all to live within the presence of compassion and generosity.